Merton and I'm an aeromodeller and an engineer. Join me on a fascinating journey where I show you some of the techniques used in scale aeromodelling. So welcome back, modellers. I'm just going to slide the formers onto the power box and see how we get on. Okay, so that's all the formers mounted on the power box. Now I'm just going to try and mount this onto the quarter square. So I'm not a big fan of this setup, and this is where it's proving a bit difficult. Everything is wobbly, it's not solid. These bulkheads can twist, they can rock backwards and forwards. Not entirely impressed. So I'm going to try some Rocket Max, which is thick, and we'll see if we can tack these into place but not onto the quarter square. I'm going to use a 90° to set how upright they are. So maybe that's the way you do it. You just zap it in with little dabs, and then we'll go in afterwards and we'll go in with the Titebond and do the seals around the edges. So that's all the formers tacked in. with some medium thick zap. Because the lid won't go back on. And they're just tacked. So what I'm going to do is go over those with some Titebond. Probably put it into a smaller bottle so I can get it right into the joints. And I'm just debating whether or not to, because it is now trued up, just debating whether to actually attach the bottom section, or even to continue right the way to the tail, which is possibly not a bad idea. Leave it in here. Right, I think I'm going to go and have a look at Stan Begg's build and see what he did at this point. So as you can see, I've ploughed ahead. All the formers are now in, all the way back to number 16 at the tail, the other end of the room here, a long way. I'm still not convinced about this method for building the model, because everything is still just balanced on 1/4 inch strip, that 1/4 square strip, and the tail end is definitely very wobbly. So I'll add the quadrant stringers and see if we can firm up this tail end, because I'm not happy about that. But you know, it may well be that it's got to stay in the jig like this right the way through until some sheeting is put on the tail end, maybe the top sheeting or something like that. I don't know yet. But anyway, so as you can see, some good progress. I'm working on the angled section through here, the seat sections, and you can see how I've had to increase the notch size on that. I've yet to do the one at the rear. I'm also looking at, or trying to figure out, where the servos are going to go. So I'm currently looking at servo position. It's interesting when you build a model, your head is constantly thinking about things that are ahead, and then you're trying desperately not to paint yourself into a corner. It's like all this cockpit detail. You know, as you add, say, these side rails, which aren't glued in yet, just the bulkheads are in so far, so the side rails haven't done yet. But it's like when you put these in, it's a lot easier to sand the bevel on the inside before you fit them. So I'll do that. And getting these right, and again sanding the edges if need be, before you actually fit it. But the one that's really at the front of my head at the moment is the servo position, because in here is where the rudder tray should go, and obviously that should have gone in before those two bulkheads were in place, but that's not an issue because I'm not going to do it like that anyway. So what we've got is the servo tray right under the seat, and it's in such a way that it actually will come up through the seat, and I don't want that. I want the seats to be completely or complete, and I don't want the bottom of the seats to be cut out or cut open for the servo. So I've still got to work out where they're going to go. It's a conundrum, but I will get there. I mean, we've got the same problem in this area here. If we were to go underneath that seat, it's still, you know, going to be blocked. There is an area at the back here, between there and there, but it's not a straight run to the tail. So the ideal place is just here, and it may well be that when the seat plate is in, which obviously can't go in yet, at that sort of angle, I could lift the seat out and it'll allow me backward access to the servos here. So it's a thought. Oh, and that won't be there, so not that it makes any difference, but it's whether or not you can get down and across to manipulate the servos. I suppose what I'd really like is to get 3 servos in that area, but anyway, so you can see where we're at so far. So I'll keep plodding along, and then I'll do some update videos. If there comes to a bit where I'm doing something interesting, then I'll let the camera roll, and you can see it all happen. So you can see I've decided I'm going to try and put the 3 servos in a line under the seat, but I'm going to sink them low enough so that they actually still give the seat plenty of clearance. So all I've got to do now is I've marked out the area that I want to cut, and I've taken most of the wood out using a Forstner bit in the drill press, and it makes very light work of those, so that's good. So now I've just got to tidy up the edges. So this is how it's going to be in the servo tray. So we'll have two elevator servos, and the push rods will come around the outside, And in the centre I'll have the rudder servo with a closed loop on either side. And the closed loop will come back, or it may even be a push rod, I'm not sure yet, but anyway, the two sides of this, or the push rod side or whatever, will go back down the middle. Okay, so the rudder is going to control the tail, the centre servo will control the rudder and the tail wheel. How I'll join the two together yet I don't know. I could run two wires, can be a bit fiddly to set up, or I might run a push rod and then wire the two together at the back end, I don't know. But there we go, this is the idea. Elevator, elevator, rudder. So the way it'll work is like that. And then the middle one will be angled the other way around, so that the pivot is at the front here. That'll give us quite a lot of throw if I need it. People ask me, you know, how do you do things so neat? Well, neatness is down to making every file and cut as accurately and as precisely as you can. Add all that together in a model and all of a sudden it is neat. So there's no way I can explain how you do it, but there you go. This is an obvious technique, but I'll show you anyway. So what I do is I take a sanding block, put it on the surface, and then I take the item I want to sand, and what I want to do is remove that tab from the side there. So I hold that on the sanding block, then I use one of these wonderful Permagrip blocks, flat on the desk. I've not got a lot of room here, obviously you give yourself a bit more room, and then you slide it backwards and forwards, and what it'll do is give you a perfect 90-degree sanding to it, and it's very easy and very quick. And there you go. Now I'm going to try and leave the other flange on and see how it fits in the model, see if it goes down low enough. If it doesn't, then I'll remove the other flange as well. So let's have a quick trial run through of servo placements, eh? I'm hoping the tray will actually stand up to the weight because it's just sort of wedged in at the moment. So that one will go through and sit in there. I haven't tried these servos in these holes to make sure they fit. I tried it in one and then made all the others the same size. Right, so that one's in. So this one will go in that way. And then the central servo will go in the centre. But this one I'll reverse. Now I've immediately seen a slight issue. I don't see a way of getting the wires to wherever the receiver is going to be, so I'll have to think about that. And I think this servo tray, this centre one, is a bit too tight. So we'll take them all out again. I'll open up that middle tray and we'll try again in a minute. There you go, you can see the 3 servos in position. What does need to be checked is that we can actually feed the push rod from the elevator through the holes in the back of the bulkheads. We can already see that that is going to foul just here. So we get a longer piece of spruce, feed it in, go through the holes at the back. And all we've got to do is lose maybe 1/4 of an inch just here. So what I'll do is I'll just mark it. So if we just chamfer those off a little bit, then we should be clear. The seat section goes in here, and there's a tray goes from there and straight up. So that's going to be horizontal. So from there, well from there in fact, we've got to be clear horizontally. And we have a little bit of leeway, probably another 1/4 inch on top of that. So I think we're good. I think that should work. And that'll mean when this section's in there, like that, I'll hold the actual seat in with magnets, and I just pop the seat out, and I've got access to the radio, to the servos. That's the plan. Well, it's been interesting so far. I'm still not convinced about the building on a spine like this, but we'll keep going. Others have done it and ended up with a straight fuselage. So we'll try and persevere. The most difficult part so far has been fitting seat 1 and seat 2. That's seat 2 and that's seat 1. And if you look carefully, you can see all the notches that I've had to cut here. And again on seat 2. Seat 2 was worse because the notch was actually miles out. and I had to refer to the plan to cut a new notch. So what I thought I was just going to have to do was make the notch deeper, as I did on seat 1, but actually I hadn't. It's got to be in a completely different place. So anyway, so that's where we're at. The seats have been, or the seat positions have been the hardest bit. The next bit to go on will be these rails on the side, which are not glued in yet. And I've gone over all the joints all the way along with some Titebond, and they're all good now. So anyway, there you go. That's probably it for today.